The second biggest source of greenhouse gases is the transportation sector. Transportation accounts for almost one-third of all greenhouse gas emissions, so improving energy efficiency and emission-reducing technologies within the transport sector is a priority today. Scientists and industry are working on some solutions like hybrid vehicle. They will use oil and electricity, so better mileage, less emission, electric cars, CNG vehicles, human energy vehicles, solar and wind energy vehicles. We are overloading our cities with traffic congestion. All our new cities should focus on public transport system as they are being built. Otherwise, we are literally not going anywhere. According to a study in 2008, private vehicles in India account for 67% of all motorized vehicles in India. They carry 37% of the commuters and take up 67% of the road space. Buses are only 24% of the vehicles and 61% of the commuters use them, and they are only using 38% of the road width. One very effective way of reducing the carbon footprint is by using pooled transport like carpools and school bus, walking short distances and using public transport. An effective way to fight climate change is by planting more trees. As we know that trees use carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, so they effectively capture the carbon in air and fix it for a number of years to come. Schools and organizations plant lots of trees on Environmental Day and Earth Day, but most of them do not survive due to neglect. Ensure that trees you plant are looked after for the first few years till they become trees. Planting local trees means you go for those plants which are found growing locally and are also different varieties. This will ensure a healthy ecosystem in the long run and also less maintenance. There is a lot of economic gain in conserving our natural environment. Today it gives us the potential for revenue generation from ecotourism, agroforestry, medicines. We must learn to work with the environment and not against it. The destruction and loss of natural ecosystem will end up costing much more than the destruction for a short-term profit. Water conservation is important in the solution matrix for climate change. As we have seen in the effects section that sources of water are already under stress, so ways to conserve water should be implemented at every level. Leaking taps, fountains and pipes are a great drain on potable water and can be easily fixed. Another very effective way to conserve water is by rainwater harvesting. Many institutions and schools are doing it already. It ensures that the water table is regularly charged with fresh water. If we want to save our planet, we will have to change our consumption pattern drastically, use less and recycle more. Unfortunately, the amount of consumption is increasing and so is the habit of wasting. An average Delhi citizen now produces more than 200 kgs of waste annually. This adds up to nearly 7,000 metric tons of waste daily, of which nearly 90% reaches the landfills and only 10% is recycled. Landfills are a major source of deadly methane and groundwater contamination. Most of us are familiar with the 3 R's of waste management, that is reduce, reuse and recycle. But the 4th R of waste management, which is refuse, is very important. It generally implies say no to wasteful consumption at the first stage. This will ensure the other 3 R's are not even required. School waste and domestic waste primarily consist of waste food, leaves, fruits and vegetables. All can be easily composted and stopped from reaching the landfills. The kabadiwalas are an important link in the waste management chain. If we can segregate our waste, which can be recycled like bottles, metal and waste paper, it can be easily collected by the waste collector and will reach proper recycling facility and stop its journey to the landfill. We are slowly shifting from local fruits and vegetable seller to supermarkets. Try to use things grown in our country, like while making a choice, go for locally grown vegetables and fruits. The supplies from foreign countries are having a very large carbon footprint as they have traveled overseas to reach us. The solutions we have given are only indicative. You will find many other ways to be responsible consumer. Just keep in mind the basic principle to reduce our wasteful consumption and the carbon footprint we will leave.